to be alive in this land of ours. Good to drive in this land of ours.
Hello, Canada hockey fans in the United States.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hockey Time Machine. I'm Glenn Dreyfus. Darius Kasperitis left his native Lithuania at the age of 14. He did that to play hockey in Russia. Eventually, he'd play 863 NHL games with the Islanders, Penguins, Avalanche, and Rangers. We began our discussion with Darius about a 1995 ESPN documentary, one that traced the return to Russia of Darius and other NHL stars. Darius, how did you get involved with the Cold War's documentary back in the 90s?
Well, I don't really remember, but I remember, I think going back to Russia. I think that was a trip with Mogilny, going back first time after he defected it. And I think we had a trip organized by Russian hockey thing to play some games, like celebrity games. So that's how I did it. That's how I got involved.
Mike Milbury had been your coach with the Islanders. Did you and he interact much on the documentary?
No, I think that's where we met first time on that trip. I think he became a coach in maybe same year, as I remember, because 92-93 was All Arbor, 93-94 All Arbor, 94-95 Lauren Henning, and then Milbury came to the organization. I think that's when we met first time. I think he became coach after the trip, maybe. So I remember Mike as a very great character. You know, I knew about him from we didn't have the internet then. I knew about him from the people telling me how he beat up somebody in the Madison Square Garden with the shoe on, and I knew that he played in the tough Boston Bruins era, and he was a tough player, but also was very, you can tell that was very educated and very interested in culture that most of the former Soviet Union players coming from. So I think that's why he came to this trip, to learn more about and make a movie about it.
We've got a clip of you from the documentary, a short one. Let's take a look at it, and then we'll talk about it.
It's kind of a mess right now, you see. This is our locker room. Here's my seat right here. I used to sit here. Best seat in the house. You put your stuff, hockey stuff. It's hot here, you see? And you put all your stuff, skates, or take this and when you take shower, you put like this. Put like this in the shower, and you wash. It's my room. It's still my stuff here, Look. Oh my God. It's my stuff, this stuff, all this stuff. Viking cup. My bed right here. I used to sleep here. And all this, I did this stuff. I did this hockey cards. You see? And I think if I stay in this country, I'm gonna start drinking again, I think. Because it's so depressed here, It's nothing to do, and just no future in this country.
It sounded like you had mixed emotions going home, Darius.
First of all, that was not my home. That was I'm originally from Lithuania, but that was the place when I moved from Lithuania. That's where I ended up living. Most of my life in Moscow. 2 years I left. I lived in a little hotel not far from the Dynamo Moscow Stadium. But then I moved to the area that was basically 24/7. We stayed there as a young players, and all the main team players stayed there too. But yeah, I had mixed emotions. I think I also was coming out the, I became sober, so at that time, so I think it was very emotionally new for me, and I think coming from broken country to the new way of life, I think at that time, my feelings and my thinking was different. I think it's a lot of things changed since the movie in a good way. Now we changed back in a bad way, but I feel like a country as former, and Russia and any former Soviet Union republic, they improved a lot. The way the life was, lived after the Soviet Union fell apart. So yeah, I had some, I was saved in the States, so I probably had a lot of mixed emotions about my past, but also seeing the clip now, it's actually cool to remember. It's like it feels like it was yesterday. I was living there, then I left, then I came back. Uh, Besides, my English maybe got a little better, but otherwise, that was actually I've been living in the States for 2 years, and actually my English was not that bad. Maybe not enough words to use, but same time, I feel like I improved a lot in 2 years.
Better than my Russian would have been, or
Yeah.
Lithuanian after 2 years in your countries. We're going to look at another photo. This is your 1992 Moscow Dynamo team. And is it true you wouldn't have been on this team without the encouragement of your mom telling you to stick with it?
Oh yeah, that's a team that I won the championship, Soviet or Russian championship, Russian league, and yeah, I after my first year in Russia, being the 14-year-old and 15-year-old, I kind of decided to go back to Lithuania and not give up my dreams of being a hockey player. I just missed my home so much, so I was homesick. So I ran away from Moscow at the age of 15 with a bunch of soccer fans from Vilnius Žalgiris. I went back home, and my mom made a decision. She made a phone call to my coach, Alexei Nikiforov, who uh, meant a lot in my life as my first coach, and I still stay in touch with him. So he came to my house, my apartment building, and he drove me back same day back to Moscow. What's funny about it, I was invited actually to represent Soviet team, which was a very big honor, being a kid from Lithuania and being picked top 25 kids to represent the country, in all Soviet Union. So I think nobody ever made that before from Lithuania. So I was lucky enough that circumstances made me drive back at time to show up at the building that the team was meeting, and I actually went there, and I think the rest of it was a history.
Speaking of being picked, the New York Islanders pick you in the first round of the draft. You come over to North America, and this is mind-blowing to me. You're playing your first NHL game a couple of days after coming to the continent. Your head must have been spinning.
Well, I remember I came my first two practices. I was dying. I was like, "Oh my God, this is totally different." I think in Russia we used to practice for a long time, but not as intense. High speed tempo practice. I think I remember coming to my first practice with the New York Islanders, and it was so fast. Everything was so fast, high tempo. I was like, I couldn't catch the breath. I think, oh my God, I was expecting to go to the minors to get adjusted, get myself into, living a new culture. But 2 days later, they put me in a lineup and told me that I'm gonna play the game, and I was like, wow, that was very interesting, and I think I did good against New Jersey Devils. I remember my first couple shifts, I threw a couple big hits, and the rest was history, because then that was my stamp on the league right away.
And speaking of your mom again, tell us about the first time you brought her over and she came to see you play with the Islanders.
Oh, my mom, she came from also, Lithuania, but it was, part of Soviet Union, so she didn't see much. It was 1992, so that Lithuania just became independent in '91. So nothing was, there was no European Union or nothing, so we didn't have anything in stores or all the crazy things that we had in the United States. So she came, she was very culture shocked. I never forget that she washed her hair one time with laundry detergent softener because it smelled good. She didn't realize there was a laundry detergent, so she used that as a shampoo. But also she came to the game, I remember, and I never forget that I blocked the shot. I think we're playing. Yeah, I blocked the shot right here, and I got hit in the knee, and I was screaming like it was very painful. So I was laying down in the trainer's room with the ice on, and guess who's there? My mom came down to see if I was okay, and I was so embarrassed. Like, Mom, get out of here! You're embarrassing me. Saying. But it's cool, and that's how cool it was. Imagine right now, your mom tries to make it down to the locker room, or no chance she can do that. But those days, National Coliseum was like a family event. So my mom just went through security without speaking any English, and she was in the locker room. I wanted to make sure I was okay.
And you were too. Your physical style was in part, wasn't it, taking advantage of the smaller North American rinks?
I didn't. I knew that I was very physical playing overseas, but not as physical as I realized. Because coming here, it was so easy for me to find, especially hip checks in the beginning, because the ice surface was so much smaller, and I thought I was a good skater. So for me, it was so easy to get adjusted to the players and throw my hip check or open ice hit, and I realized it was so easy to do. And then what? I realized one thing, that it was very appreciated by fans. I think if I did in the Russian league, I don't think people really care about much about physical hockey. But when I came here, I started hitting and using this type of style. People loved me, and I was wow. I felt rewarded. So it made me kind of inspire me to play that way. Also, not only goals and assists, but also inspire me to block shots or to go under somebody's skin and throw a big hit. And I saw that how for example, a big hit, how you can change the game with one big hit, and I realized that was very appreciated.
Let's talk about you getting under opponents' skin. You were a master at it, and you've said you loved doing it. What I wonder is, hockey fighters, we know they would prepare based on who their opponent, who they might fight. Did you also tailor your moments and your methods of agitation based on the team and the players you would be facing?
Not really. I end up playing most of the time against good players, like first line players. I think Alarbo realized that I can go under. I didn't knew that I had the ability to do that. He knew that I didn't care about anything, and I was like a happy-go-lucky guy my rookie year. So I think Al Arbo just threw me, used that, as a great coach. I think he used that ability to put me against best forwards on the team, because he knew I had no respect for anyone, so I can hit anybody and drive them crazy. So I think that's what happened. Then I realized then after maybe that really also affects the game, change of the game. When you hit the star player, the rest of the team wants to hit you back, or they start chasing you around, and they forget how to play the game, and they just want to take stupid penalties. So I think that's what I realized I can use that also as a game plan.
You certainly did not alter your game, whether you were facing a fourth liner or future Hall of Famers, and we have video proof. Here's the first of two clips we're going to show. Darius Kasperitis' greatest hits.
Eiserman's down again as he got clipped by Kasperitis.
There's Kasperitis. Good hit.
Here's Nemchinov. See you later. Look at the knees. I mean, that's knee height.
Shakti, too. The linesman.
Yeah. He got two. Oh, man, look. I mean, that's a great look.
Into Creighton. And he's knocked flying by Kasperitis. What a check there.
Kasperitis, who gets up and knocks Lemieux flat. And play continues, and now Kasperitis goes back at Lemieux. To Mario. Kasperitis on him again. Down he goes. This time he'll get called.
20-year-old Kasperitis got just a little carried away.
To 255. Messier was knocked down by Kasperitis.
Messier moves in and he ducks the check. That's a good play by Kasperitis.
Here's a game against Mark Messier, Madison Square Garden. Look at that.
Give Kasperitis credit, though. He's a competitor, and he comes back at you, even though he's not a big person in size. And he loves to hit. Nothing slows him down.
As he says, and he admits there are some teams that hate him.
I would have left you alone, Darius.
Yeah. I remember somebody told me, Mike Keenan told Mark Messier one, that I think he got like 6 penalties on me in one game. He said, can you stop paying attention to this guy? He's playing for the public, you know, he's not playing to do in the game. He's just driving me crazy. Honestly, that was an era of hockey that I think I can play like that. I wish I can play like that too now. I think people will love me even more. I probably have like 2 million followers on my Instagram. But right now, you know, I have only like 10,000. But honestly, that's how I played. I didn't really care about he was a third line guy or fourth line guy. Hit is a hit, like goal is a goal, you know. So anywhere you made a big hit, especially playing at home, people will go crazy. So I just used my opportunities, and of course, you know, they loved seeing me go after Mark Messier because, you know, Rangers Islanders rivalry, and then, you know, Mario Lemieux, by the way, because he hit me first on the back, so I just got him back, you know, for whatever he did to me. But I end up being, you know, I end up seeing this clip now all the time. So even playing with Mario, I have to apologize.
Well, you're right, because earlier in the clip, and I should have started it earlier, but he cross-checked you twice. You weren't doing that out of the blue. That's the part that always gets left out.
Yeah, it was totally, if that was today's game, you might get a game misconduct and a 5-game suspension. But he cross-checked me first, twice. On the back, I fall into the board. I just get up and reacted, you know, just kind of got even. But, you know, it's a game. You know, I play with emotions, and I was very emotional and very competitive since I was a kid. So I put the energy into the hockey, and especially NHL hockey, because it was very people kind of saw my emotions, but I think that a lot of people related, especially playing in New York and Long Island, and then Pittsburgh with the blue collar fans. I think they appreciate it as much more than, you know, I think maybe playing in the Garden with a lot of corporate people. I'm not talking about blue seats, but real true fans. You know, but it's different, you know, and I think that's what drove me to play that way too.
Well, we must acknowledge, though, that there is more to Darius Kasperitis than just hitting and agitating. This is you on the kiss cam. What's going on here?
It was Joseph Malaker. We were playing in Toronto, and they're doing a kiss camera. And of course, people usually when I play on the road, people hated me. So I think they put me on the kiss camera on a big, you know, in Maple Leaf Garden. So I just kissed Joseph Malaker's helmet, and I don't think he realized what was happening. You know, people go, "Oh, like, why are you doing this?" And then I think he realized that it was on a big screen, so he kind of gave a little smirky smile. But I love playing. I don't say I was an artist, but I love even you know, playing, especially in Philadelphia, you know, seeing people going crazy and they hate you, you know, and you get all the signs and all this crazy, you know, show your middle finger. And I knew that that means that I play hard, and that means then they also kind of, it's not like respecting me, but they had time and ability to waste time and to write signs, and that means that I play my game, that people kind of come and watch, but also maybe come and watch to show how much they hate me, you know.
Even away from the rink, I understand a Flyers fan once accosted you on a golf course.
No, that was actually no, it wasn't, not recently. It was like maybe 7-8 years ago. I was playing in Hershey, alumni game with charity game. And there was this guy in the stand screaming, you know, with the Flyers jersey, that he hates me. I suck. I shouldn't be here, you know. And I was like, dude, this is a charity game. Like I retired from hockey a long time ago, so it's like, what's your issue? You know, he was so angry with me. So I realized that going to Philadelphia, even with the layover in the airport, is a dangerous place for me to be.
Another thing about your game is you could come up with the timely goal, and boy, did you rise to the occasion in 2001. Now, as a member of the Penguins, Game 7 of the playoffs against Buffalo, overtime. Let's take a look.
Near Yager. Lang coming again. Lang drops it back. Here comes Kasperitis. He scores! Darius Kasperitis! The Pittsburgh Penguins 3-2 over the Sabres. They go against the Devils in the conference final. His first goal of the playoff year has won a chance to go to the conference finals for Kasperitis.
You were lucky you didn't get assessed 2 minutes for diving.
Yeah, you know, that celebration was just pure joy as a kid. You know, I didn't know how to express my joy scoring a goal, so I think I just jumped and started sliding, and you know, it's like sometimes out of happiness or being happy, you know, you don't know what to do, so that's what I did. But ended up being a cool celebration. I didn't plan it. You know, I remember talking to Rene Corbet, my roommate, the night before the game, and I think there was overtime too. And I imagine scoring an overtime goal, and Rene being a fourth line forward, and I was being a shutdown defenseman. So don't worry, it will never happen to us. So you know,
and you beat the Dominator, Dominic Hasek, no less.
Yeah, and with a bad shot too. So sometimes, you know, something like that, you know, it's luck, but I don't know, it just happened. I always had a feeling that game that, you know, I was always jumping into the play. I had some chances before, and I felt like I gonna score a goal. I didn't realize I'm gonna score a big goal like that. But sometimes, you know, you feel it, and it just happens. So just something to remember for the rest of my life. You know, it was a great game. I hope, you know, unfortunately we didn't beat the Devils in the next round, but it was something that Pittsburgh Penguins up to the day they still remember, and they still talk about it.
With that goal, and in fact also the kiss cam also shows that you understood something that I think a lot of players, because they're so focused, and of course you were focused too, but you also understood this was entertainment. This game is supposed to be fun, and it seemed like you never forgot that.
It's important, and also I think it's easy to have fun when you play good. And I think I wish I had this knowledge and experience as a 50-year-old man right now that when I was playing as a 20-year-old. I think some days, you know, are not as fun as other days. But I think having fun and playing game, it's a kid's game. You know, we play the game that we play since we were kids, and you just have to enjoy it no matter what. And I think that's what I did. You know, I enjoyed the hockey so much. I still do up to this day. I play twice, 3 times a week, and I still have the same passion. You know, if you interview my hockey buddies right now, they will probably tell you a lot of stories that is not really. I'm not really proud of it, but it's a lot of passion. You know, comes out of me still, and I sometimes I feel a lot of pain that I still feel that way because it's like. You play for nothing right now, you know. You play for fun, but winning is a lot for me, you know. And I'm not a very good loser, especially when I lose to the amateurs. I get very angry.
Also, when you were in Pittsburgh, grocery shoppers could invite you to their kitchen table. Well, maybe not you exactly, but Kasperitis Crunchers. How did that come about?
Well, was a guy who was in the food business with Giant Eagle, so he offered me to have my own pickles. So I said, why not? You know, I didn't really, you know, had a contract or anything. I just had, that kind of looks good to have a picture on the pickle jar. So that's how I end up, you know, having a thing, my stuff on the pickle jar. I think Jagger already had his peanut butter. So I was kind of hoping to have my own food, and they choose to have pickles. So
I would have put you on a bottle of hot sauce. That would have been the right product for you.
Yeah, but pickles are good too. One, one is a pickle is a pickle. You can become a cucumber. So
Truer words have never been spoken.
yeah.
Okay, we're going to play now part 2 of Darius's greatest hits, and then we'll talk about some of the hitties.
Pinching is Kasperitis to belt McSorley.
What a hit by Kasperitis. You do not knock Marty McSorley. There he is. Boom. I'm glad I wasn't standing between them.
Here's a hit by Kasperitis on Cherkasky.
Heads up.
Center ice.
Heads up.
And now they all come trying to find Darius Kasperitis. Kasperitis nailing Cherkasky coming right through center ice.
Kasperitis lined him up and nailed him. And Yager's down. Oh, a blind pass, and Kasperitis had Yager lined up from about 10 feet away.
Back to a one-goal game again. Thundering hit by Kasperitis on Lindros.
That's a good clean hit. Lindros looked down for the puck. Kasperitis never left his feet. He led with his shoulder.
Do you want to hit Gretzky?
Yeah, I try, but it's too hard, because he sees you anytime you're coming, and he just passes right away,
Kasperitis just took Wayne Gretzky out in neutral territory, and here's Travis Green firing, save, rebound, score! Kasperitis gives the Islanders a 2-1 lead.
Wow, what a murderer's row of people you lined up. Let's go over that last one first. You managed the Kasperitis crunch on a player you told Stan Fischler that couldn't be caught up to. Which was more satisfying on that shift, the hit on Gretzky or the goal?
I think hit on Gretzky because I have the picture right now in my garage. Gretzky hanging on my hip. Of course, hitting Gretzky was cool, and scoring goal afterwards. You see right there, I still have the picture. So it's kind of, especially having interview right before that about it's so hard to hit Gretzky, and then I'm doing the next period, catching him with not head down, but I guess surprise hit check. So I remember that King players didn't really like that, but it is what it is.
Now, speaking about players with their head down, that must have surprised you that, especially when they knew you were on the ice, that so many players would skate with their head down, which is dangerous.
Well, you know what? I've been taught since I was a kid. You are as a defenseman by a great defenseman before me. You always look for the guys with their head down, skating. Of course, you have to have a puck, but at the same time, that's how I was taught since I was little. Since I started playing hockey, you play defense and then you look for the guy with the head down, then you step up and hit him. It's not like you want to injure the player, but that's kind of surprise attack because that's how I was watching the players all the time. I look at if he has his head up, so it's hard for me to finish my check because he's gonna see me coming. But then the moment he puts his head down, I can step up. Also, I always look for people when they break out, and the player who's going to receive the puck, if he's going to keep his, if he's going to have his head down, then the moment for me is to stop and go towards him and make a hit. So it's not it's art, I guess, some kind of art, because it's always you have to read the game and see what's going on and make sure you don't get caught. So I was surprised that a lot of players had a head down, but sometimes probably players forget a lot about when you're in the game, you sometimes forget. So it happens.
In the clip, we also saw you lay out Eric Lindros, and later when he's moved on to the Rangers, you get a phone call that shocks you because Eric wants you to be his teammate.
In the heat of the moment when I hit Eric, it was kind of, one of the greatest hits the Penguin Flyers rivalry experience. But then, when you see the guy down and he's getting injured like that, I don't think it was time to celebrate. But I think, when you hate the team that you play, I think fans hate each other, so it just happens by nature. But yeah, when Eric called me on the midnight on the free agency and asked me, not asked me, but explained that he has no hard feelings. Hockey's hockey. We all get injured. We play on opposite sides, but he would love to see me as his teammate. He meant a lot to me. That and I got to know Eric after Lindros. He was a very great, goofy, entertaining guy. When you play against him, you always feel like so serious, and it's like this tough, big forward. But when you get to know him as a Ranger, I remember he was a very fun going and very open guy. He got me a lot. I learned a lot about him.
Okay, in every interview you've done, when you tell the story, you always call Lindros a goof as a teammate because you got to know him. How was he a goofball as a teammate?
Oh, he was, sometimes when you feel like about star players, they always kind of represent themselves more like, more than, I don't know, I played with Lemieux, Jagger was a goof too, but I mean, I played with Lemieux, I played with a lot of guys, I didn't know Gretzky personally, but I know Mario, as a superstar player, he was very, he had his own aura around him, he was, he was he loved to have fun, but I don't think he was like doing crazy things like I did, for example. And I think Eric what shocked me a lot about Eric because Eric was very simple. He didn't really act like Eric Lindros, the Hall of Famer. He did things that we all regular blue collar players do. Like play music, make pranks. Just things like that. I think it's usually the pranksters are usually tough guys, so guys like me who are playing a physical hockey. But Eric was one of the guys who like to have fun and just enjoy the game.
How much did it surprise you to find out that the stars like Lindros and Lemieux and Jagr, that none of them seemed to hold a grudge against you once you were wearing the same sweater they were?
Well, I was very nervous when I got traded to Pittsburgh because I remember the Penguins, especially fans, they hated me, and going to Pittsburgh was very nerve wracking. But then they got me, my first 2 days, they accept me as one of them, and since that, I had my best years as a Penguin. I played there for 6 seasons, and I made a lot of good friendships. And I played with one of the greatest, or maybe one of the greatest players never played a game, Lemieux, and I played with Jagr a lot, who was also very, on the same caliber as Mario. I played with Ron Francis, Tommy Barrasso, all the guys that won the cup, but they were there on the team when I got there. So I loved being a Penguin, and I think that was one of my best times as a hockey player playing in Pittsburgh.
Now, one photo of you we're going to show you with the Rangers, and I hate this photo. I'll tell you why, because I'm insanely jealous of anybody with hair that is that good and has so much flow. But you actually shaved off your locks, or at least most of them, when you were in Pittsburgh. How come?
Because at one point in Pittsburgh, I realized, I think my last year in Pittsburgh, I couldn't go anywhere. People recognized me because of my hair most of the time. So I made a decision to make, cut my hair. And I remember going the first day out, nobody knew who I was. So it was so good, and I had my privacy finally. Because I remember, most of the time when you have a style, I think people always know you. They know already, oh, look at this guy, the blonde guy with the long hair, that's Kasperitis. But when I cut it off, I remember it was so much fun to go out and just to be incognito, nobody knew who I was in the beginning, so it was good.
Two poker stories I'd appreciate it if you share with us. The first, in preseason with the Islanders, your buddy Mick Vukota apparently had a streak of bad luck.
Yeah, there was Mike Milbury's era. I think we were playing poker in the room after the game, and Mick got upset. So he tried to throw the phone out of the window. And I think it was very noisy. So I think Mike Milbury heard that. So he came to our room. We all got in big trouble that day. I remember. I think And Mick, I remember Mick tried to challenge Mike to a fight after a couple of beers. So it was, all time hockey. But Mike, as a coach and I remember it was a GM. He walked away, and I remember next morning we had a team meeting in the lobby, and we had all big black garbage bags. Trying to go pick up all the garbage that Mick produced, throwing out the window, and we flew back home, I think, and we had a very tough practice that day.
By the way, speaking of practice, Mick Vukota said you made teammates better, especially at practice, if you noticed that they weren't going full speed. Why did you take on that responsibility?
It's funny because when I came to Islanders especially first 2 years, I was exactly practicing exactly the way I played. So it was a lot of fights, a lot of hitting, a lot of guys going after me, my own teammates, because they didn't like the way I play during the practice because I was very rough on the edges, and I had a lot of tough teammates going after me. But I learned, I think, after a couple of years, I learned that, my teammates are my teammates. I have to take it easy on them. And I realized I have to notch it down a little bit before I lose all my support on my team. So, but I remember, make Richie Pilon, guys like that. Used to chase me around during the practice sometimes if I go a little bit rough on the edges.
The second poker story with the Penguins, what, Darius, is a blue light special?
Blue light special when you lose like $6,000, and then the guy who won $6,000 from you, it gives you blue light special. It gives you half, like 50% off. So he gave him $33,000, instead of paying $6,000. So that's blue light special.
I'm not sure how special that is, but I guess it's 50% off is 50% off.
Yeah, as long as you don't pay the full amount that you lost, And I remember having a blue special from Mario one day. I have to write back check because he was the owner of the team already. I have to write him back the check that he gave me with a blue light special playing poker.
On the topic of money, as a rookie, your Islanders teammate Pat Flatley gave you some advice, which I don't think you took.
No, I remember Flats told me that it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. So, listen, I now I understand. I came to the league in '92. I had no idea about money, and it took me a couple of years to realize. Actually, it took me lots of years to realize when I retired that the money I was making as a hockey player, it was a lot of money for a regular person. I didn't realize that until I retired and started making regular salary at regular job basically. So right now, I am realizing that Flat was right. He told me it's not about money you make; it's about money you save.
And you wrote this at the slapshotdiaries.com, and I think it's very important, so I'd like you to comment on it. Quote, there has to be some kind of school for athletes. I think you need to remind the players every year, or maybe even twice a year, that you have to prepare yourself for life after hockey, unquote. Tell me about, as you moved on in your career and after your career, what you learned about what athletes don't know.
Well, when we play, we feel like that the money we make, even guys make money now, a lot of money, but the money we spend also it's not gonna last forever. I think somebody has to teach, especially younger kids, that you can enjoy your life, the Ferraris or Lamborghini. So basically, it's not gonna mean a lot to you when you retire. I think you have to save your money. You have to think about the future. About having a family, things like that, because when you're young, I don't think you think that way. You think like you're invincible, and hopefully, I don't know. People try to help me a lot with advices, but advice is how taking my money and try to make more money. But I always felt like that was a scam. Instead of having somebody like some guy with the experience being an athlete, maybe sharing his experience and maybe guide him to a right decisions, and I think that's what's important, because we all kind of, when you're young, you don't feel that way. That you feel like you're gonna make this forever, but eventually, a lot of guys don't save, and I think education is very important because I think most of us early bloomers, we finish high school and we go into pros, So, and then when you retire, you realize how important education is too.
Thank you for that. You played in 4 different Winter Olympic hockey tournaments. Why was the Olympics important to you?
Well, I remember as a kid, playing, watching Olympics on TV was one of the biggest experience, in my life as an athlete. As a young athlete, I remember watching every Olympic, and having Olympic medal. I thought was the biggest achievement you can have until I made one, and I was up to this day, I'm so shocked. How can the kid from Lithuania, where it's not a really big hockey country, coming and winning a gold medal, and then not winning only gold medal, but participating in the fall Olympics, even for the country that it was not born by right, but it's still a huge achievement. I think playing in the fall Olympics, that's it's a lot of games and a lot of years. So I feel very pride that I achieved in my career as an athlete.
Here's a photo of you as part of the 92 Russia squad that won gold. And you'd said about that, you feel good when you win the Olympic Games. You can be a rich guy, but you can never buy an Olympic championship. Tell us about that feeling in 92.
Well, I remember that's me and Dmitry Yushkevich celebrating after the final whistle. You can't, I think the guys who won Stanley Cups or other guys who won Olympic medals, I think they realize that winning something like that, you will remember for the rest of your life. The feeling you can express. I think that's why guys want to win more and more. But winning the first time, I think that's always will end up in, you're gonna remember this for the rest of your life. So I feel like money cannot buy that. I think that's why there's a lot of people who have money. They want to be part of. If they play hockey, they want to be part of the guys who won something, and they want to see, interact with them. I think because it's very contagious, being with the winners.
And your career wasn't done when you left the NHL, a couple of seasons back in Russia. And then maybe this surprised even yourself. In your 40s, you're back playing hockey in Lithuania. So tell me about coming full circle. That's where you were born. And then eventually you go back to play hockey in your native country.
Well, I think I always had unfinished business. I feel like when I retired, I felt like, I never represented Lithuania in a national or international tournament officially. So I always felt like, this is something I missed out deep down my soul. I played for Russia, but never for the country I was born and I grew up as a kid, So I made a decision, to try to play one of the tournaments to represent my country of birth. And the country I was, consider myself Lithuanian. So I made a decision. So I used to fly every year for a couple of games to qualify. And then when the time was to play for Lithuania, I did it. So I didn't feel, I was like, I think I was 47, 46 years old already at that time. But it was great that I put it away, and now I can basically sleep very quietly, and I don't worry about it. I never played for Lithuania.
Well, you're still dishing out the hits. You still had the passion, right?
Hitting is. I think that's fun. I still hit it right now, playing for fun. So it's very important for me to keep the same level of intensity, no matter what age I play.
Since you have 6 kids, I'd like to close our conversation with this. Something else I think very wise you said, quote, today hockey is a huge business. It's all fitness schmitness, and kids feel the pressure to perform. It isn't just a game anymore. So what you're pointing out, I think, in that quote is only a tiny fraction of players ever turn pro, and only a fraction of that fraction get to stick at the highest levels. So, what is your message to parents and to coaches?
I think being a parent, I think we have to teach the kids the right to be first of all to be a good person, and second of all, I think we have to let the kids discover themselves. We have to support them, but at the same time, listen, I'm a soccer dad. My two kids, and I'm a basketball dad and volleyball, but most time I go watch soccer or basketball with my kids. So sometimes I want to, force my beliefs and my understanding of life to my children. If you do this, you do that, you might be like me. But you cannot do that. I think I have to step back and let my kids develop and learn, and just support them to learn about the game on their own. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we make mistakes as parents. We force our beliefs and our dreams to our children, and sometimes our kids just get disappointed. We just have to let them. Kids should have fun. They shouldn't be pressured by parents to perform a certain way. Of course, I want my kids, or my son to play NBA, or my boys who play soccer to play for Manchester City. But that's unrealistic expectations sometimes. I truly believe. I realized I was at the tournament yesterday. I realized my dad came to the games, but he would never go to practice. He would never go anywhere. I did everything on my own. Maybe that's why I developed as a player, because I don't think he forced me to do certain things, as I sometimes force my kids to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Which is very important. Sometimes my wife tells me, listen, he's only like one son, he's only 8 years old. Come on, you're acting like he's 18 and he's playing in United States national team. I have to step back as a dad and let my kids be, and especially I think athletes, parents who have some achievements in life, we kind of think that our kids should be exactly the way we are, or maybe even better. Which I hope they're gonna be that way, but still, they are my children. First of all, they need love.
I think that's great to hear. And now that we have this recorded on tape, your kids can play this for you if you get on their case.
Of course, I just want my kids to listen to me.
Parents since time immemorial have wanted their kids to listen to them, and kids haven't done it.
Yeah, I think that's why I feel fortunate. Even when I left 14, I think I just developed as a human. I learned by making mistakes. I had coaches to supervise me, but most of the time, life, I have to, live the life to learn. So it is what it is.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being so generous with your time. I really appreciate it. I know these days you have big, mega real estate deals to do with Alex Braverman. So carving out time for us, we very much appreciate it. Thank you, Darius.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was fun. Thank you.
Darius actually had to leave us to pick up his kids from school. Way to be a dad, Darius. But we're not quite done talking about him. As you know, Hockey Time Machine from time to time has delved into film reviews, like with the movie Slapshot. Well, our buddy Alex Braverman alerted us to a Russian movie. Watch for Darius Kasperitis making a cameo, skating backwards and shaking hands.
Тот отбирает у хоккеиста всю зарплату в Питтсбурге. Позже Константин просит помочь с вопросом своего босса, банкира Валентина Белкина, у которого назначена встреча как раз с тем самым бизнесменом. Но вместо этого помощники банкира убивают Константина Громова. В заключительной трети фильма Данила приезжает на тренировку Питтсбурга, чтобы пообщаться с Дмитрием. Узнает пару нужных фамилий, а потом просит переночевать или хотя бы немного денег. Появляются реальные хоккеисты – Ягор, Морозов и Каспарайтис. У Дариуса там самая большая роль – на несколько секунд. Он подъезжает к Дмитрию Громову, просит вернуться к тренировке.
Знакомься, друг мой. Я Дариус. Данила, очень приятно. Да не мешай тренироваться.
I had a little trouble following the plot I mean, because it's in Russian and there are no subtitles and all, you know. So for a better understanding of this film, let's say hello to our pal Alex Braverman. Alex, give us the scoop. What was this film about, and what was the hockey connection?
Hi, everybody, and thank you. Yeah, not too many people know, but Darius became an actor and took a role in the cultural film, which became a big sensation in Russia, called Brother or Brat. And the clip you show was just a portion of that film where a guy came to Pittsburgh and met Darius and other players, and it's not too many people know about that, but Darius is a big actor too.
As far as I can tell, the protagonist of the film finds someone in his apartment brutally murdered, but he doesn't let that stop him from enjoying a hockey game. Is that about it?
No, he didn't go to hockey game. It was a practice, but so the movie was about the Russian mafia, and the main actor, came to Pittsburgh to settle some score, and found the person who was supposed to help him settle the score was already dead when he came to the Pittsburgh. So he was trying to find help from different people, I guess.
Any idea how the film producers got the Penguins involved?
One of the players on ice, Morozov, was a friend of the producer, and that's probably how it started.
And how would you assess Darius as an actor?
It's a short role, but he said if he knew this movie would become a big sensation, he would talk a little bit longer and try to get more attention to himself.
By the way, are you familiar with the American film critics Siskel and Ebert?
Yeah, I mean, I heard the name. I don't think I've watched it,
But here, for some reason, I ended up being the fat one and the bald one.
You're still good guys. That's what counts.
Let's turn our attention to something else. Later this month, there's going to be a hockey festival in Israel. That's the plan anyway. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm involved with different programs, and one of them I met the team Israel here in Florida a few months ago, and I actually brought them here, and we become friends with many of them. And the idea of getting the NHL game to Israel become our mission. So we kind of plan it as two steps, and one first step is a hockey festival in Israel, which will happen at the end of the month, and we're hoping for 3 teams to go there and play. One of them gonna be Team Veterans Israel, another team Legend from Russia, and the third team will be ex-NHL players, which will consist of players from different countries. They grown up, like for example, Darius Kasperitis. He was born in Soviet Union, but his country was Lithuania, and it's a separate country now. We have some Ukrainian players, we have Swedish players, Finnish players, North American, Canadians. So, we're trying to establish idea of hockey diplomacy and showcase the sport outside the politics, and maybe the good deeds will, show the world. It's easier to talk with stick and pucks than guns and cannons.
Here's another photo of Darius Kasperitis. When was this taken? What was the event?
Yeah, this happened a few months ago in Florida when the Israeli team came to Florida to participate in the Latin country tournaments, and they actually was undefeated during the tournaments, and then they went to final and play against Team Egypt, and unfortunately they lost to Team Egypt 0-3. But it was another act of hockey diplomacy when Israel and Israeli players and the Egypt players play on the same ice, and it was no fights, no incidents. It was just a pure game and join after the game, and they all got the medals and celebrate the win. I happens to have one of the medals here. The Israeli team won the silver in the tournament, so as a manager, I got the medal too.
Oh, good for you.
Thank
Does
you.
that get you like, do you get to cut the line when you're going for movie tickets? You
I will
just
check
flash
out.
the medal?
I'm planning to go to Israel in few days, and hopefully this medal will take me places.
So one last picture of you and Darius, and tell us where this is. I'm only assuming you're wearing the hard hat because you know of Darius's reputation for hard hip checks.
No, on this picture, Kaspar is a good ghost. He's not trying to hit me. Actually, I have another picture where he put some fingers behind me. But yeah, I guess I'm probably only guest on your program who never play hockey, but I'm in the real estate business, and Darius, after his career of hockey, become a developer in sunny Florida, and right now he's building the new high-rise building in Sunny Isle, and this picture represents his project, and I met him there, so we had something in common, not only hockey but real estate as a passion too. So I met him at his project, and we go over the apartments, the prices, the sizes, and I was trying to help him to sell his project too.
Before we go, anything else I forgot to ask?
So many different programs, and hockey is a real cool things. Like I said, I never played. I got involved because as a hockey parent, it's evolving to different side of the game. I'm planning the projects in Israel. Right now, we're working on marketing of the movie about the sledge hockey, which was done in Russia. But as I told you, the hockey has no borders. So the sledge player in Russia, similar as to sledge player here in Canada or in America. And in the movie, the main point of the movie, he was trying to say, I'm just like you. I'm no different. And I just want to play hockey. And I want to create, more events like this, and have more people, more kids play hockey everywhere in the world.
Well, we applaud your efforts, Alex. And it should also be mentioned, it was Alex who arranged for Darius Kasperitis to be on this program. And without Alex's help, it would not have happened. And that's true for some other upcoming guests as well. So, Alex, thank you for being such a good friend of the program.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure to be here and call you guys friend, Paul, and you, and some other guys.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye.
That'll do it for this edition of Hockey Time Machine. Join us next time when April the Wonder Pooch will join us to give us her dog hockey moments of the week. And until then, the balcony and the penalty box are closed.